Good morning, OKN. 7:34. This one's going to be basically a PSA right here. We're going to protect the old people. That's what we're going to do today. We're going to look out for them. We're going to make sure all the elderly folk are looked out for. You need someone who knows what they're doing in the estate realm, in the planning realm. Bob McIntosh Law Firm, located in Davidson. Quite the lineup, the all-star lineup of if you have a legal need, Bob McIntosh and the team at McIntosh Law can take care of you. If they don't take care of it themselves, they can refer somebody. I think that's how it works, right? Is that how that goes, Bob?
Absolutely.
If you don't want the person, then you send them somewhere else. That's the way it usually.
Well, there's nobody we don't want, Justin. Come on.
All right, let's talk about estate planning, Bob. It's got to be, arguably one of the busiest legal sectors in the world right now. Am I wrong about that?
Well, especially in the U.S. I don't know about internationally, but in the U.S., yes, it's big, and we're in this transition now when the baby boomers are on their way out. Myself being the sort of the tail end of the baby boomers, we're kind of on our way out, and the largest transfer of wealth in human history. We're kind of it's about a 30-year window, and we're about 15 years into it, and got about 15 years left. So it's busy. It's very busy. Yes.
I don't like saying old people. I don't like saying that. Seasoned is the word I think that we're supposed to use in the South. That's the common vernacular. But also elderly. That's a real. Is that a legal term of art? Like to be elder?
Well, there's elder law, and so yes, it's not a truly defined term. There's no. It's not like the baby boomer generation. There's no beginning and end. It's just kind of where you are. And one of the things that we're seeing in our practice is that there are a lot of people in their 40s and 50s starting to suffer from dementia. So you would think, well, they're not really elderly, but they are having some common problems that people who are elderly would have. And so the number's not really all that important these days. It's just kind of where you are in a intellectual, emotional kind of place in your life.
Do you tell people that, like when you're considered an elder law client? Do you tell them that? Because that seems like you can get offended kind of easily.
Oh yeah, no, we don't do that. No, we don't do that at all.
Just say we can help you.
We can help you, exactly right. We don't need to color this up in any particular way. We're just going to help.
Yeah.
You mentioned the transfer of wealth, right? So that's a generation of people aging, right? The way that they are, just based on population, how many people are in that category. But pretty wild the amount of people that's happening with. The concept, though, of planning your estate, you have to do that before you die, though, right? Because you can't really change anything with it after you die. Is that right?
That's pretty much the way it is. Because I'm not exactly sure what state you're in after you die, but you're usually not planning an estate at that point. Yeah, it's sort of beyond our help there. That's on somebody else's desk.
But there's so much too, like just to inform people of. We were talking before the segment started. The amount of scams that go on right now,
huge,
and those that are seasoned typically are the targets of a lot of these scams. Are you hearing any stories of any, or are people calling you, telling you, "Hey, this is what I'm seeing"? And there's a wide range of ones that could be out there. But any particular scams that you're hearing from clients about?
Not any particular ones, but we do hear a lot about them. They come in and they say, listen, my mom lost $150,000 to this person from New York who was telling her that she needed to donate money to support kids who don't have cell phones in New York City because it's really bad. And some people who are genuinely inclined to want to do good and help somebody out. I mean, naturally, especially folks around here, they want to help somebody. Somebody needs some help, I can help them out. Well, the scammers take advantage of that. So one of the things that we encourage people to do is stay engaged with your parents, with your elderly family, with people who maybe aren't as sophisticated to what's going on in the world today as somebody else might be. Stay engaged with them, talk to them, find out what's going on, who's calling them, how are they interacting with the world. And of course, a lot of times the scammers say, "No, you can't tell anybody about this. Don't tell anybody you're doing this because this is on the QT. Not supposed to let the right hand, doesn't need to let the left hand know what it's doing, and that's not really a good place to be. But if you stay engaged with the people that you're sort of responsible for, trying to help out, that's really the number one thing. And then make sure that they have the support that they need, such that they don't go looking for support somewhere that they might not need to be looking for support, because there are folks out there who will, take advantage of somebody. They're not necessarily scammers, but they'll take advantage of a situation when a person's not fully on their game and is not necessarily, they don't think that somebody's going to be looking over their shoulder. They don't think there's a backstop. They don't think there's another person that's watching what's happening. So those are the two things I'd recommend. Stay engaged and be there as a resource and try to help folks.
It's one of those things, like the scams happen fast, right? And they're emotionally driven to try to get you to take an action as quickly as possible, like Bob said, without telling anybody else. That kind of like fast moving action, when people come in to like talk about their estate with you guys, and then it's like the beginning of that process, do they kind of just dump it all out and you guys have to go through like the sorting process on everything? Or how do you find out what somebody really needs when we're talking about planning what happens after they die?
Well, it is a process. A lot of times people come in and they're focused on one thing and one thing only, and that may not be what their biggest risk is. So we have to go on inquiry to find out really what are you trying to do? What are you concerned about? A lot of people come in, like we were saying earlier, Mamie, I've heard that I need to transfer my house to my kid. Like I said, is that the same kid that I represented 5 years ago for fraud? If that's the case, then no, you don't need to transfer your house to that child. If that child is in a business where they are potentially at risk for lawsuits or they can get a judgment against him somehow, no, you don't want your house in that child's name. And it may be that Medicaid, if you are trying to do that for Medicaid planning or some other type of planning purposes, it may be that the risk of losing the house one way is a whole lot more than it would be if you're trying to do the Medicaid planning. There is a process to that. It's very, very intricate, and the rules change with Medicaid an awful lot, and so you have to be careful when you're planning that.
There's the concept too of like capacity, right? Because at some point you
absolutely.
mentioned the dementia side of it, right? And so even if you're still living on this earth, but you get to a point that you're legally not allowed to make decisions, that's got to be a tough scenario to deal with.
Well, it is, and capacity, again, there's not a bright line. You don't exactly know where it is. The capacity, interestingly, under the law, the capacity to make a will or to sign a power of attorney is lower than general capacity might be. You can still make a will. You can still do a power of attorney. Basically, if you know who the natural objects of your bounty are, and you know basically what you have, and you know what you want to do, and there's not someone there applying undue influence to you, that's pretty good for a will. Whereas that person wouldn't be competent to sit on a board of directors somewhere of a multinational company.
Well, they do better than some, probably.
Well, then there's that. Then there's that.
For those that like don't know what they want to do, maybe like they don't have kids, right? They don't have like necessarily a big plan in place. Do you help people work through those scenarios
sure.
too?
Yeah. That's one of our favorite clients because we just make the law firm the beneficiary of that estate. No, we don't do that. We don't do that. There are people who are in that situation, and you'd be surprised how many there really are like that. There are several ways of addressing it. There are all types of charities out there. There are all types of other passions that may not necessarily be charities that a person can support with the wealth that they have that they've gained. Or there may be just other folks in the community, other family members that they want to take care of. And there's all kinds of ways of establishing their legacy, disposing of their property, and doing it legitimately and doing it in a way that it makes them feel good and a way that benefits the community and other folks around them.
Pets? How complicated does it get with pets and elderly?
Yeah,
because like people get
my
the
emotional
dogs.
support alligator.
Yeah,
what do I do with
one or
that?
the other. How complicated does that get?
I knew that was going to come up. I knew that was going to come up. Yes, there are pet trusts, and people do make disposition in their estates for their pets, and we help them do that. Yes, it can be a little bit complicated. Exactly how does it work, and how do you oversee it? But usually, it's not a problem. Not a problem.
Can handle it.
Now, what age should somebody come in and start doing their estate planning?
Interestingly, there is a bright line there.
Okay.
18 is we have a program that we do because a lot of kids in high school will turn 18 in their senior year or maybe their junior year. And when that happens, there's a lot of magic that goes on in the law, and mom and dad no longer have access to medical records, and mom and dad no longer have access to educational records, and mom and dad are no longer responsible legally. And a lot of times people don't realize that. So If your kid is on your insurance, you just assume, well, if they get hurt, the doctor's going to talk to me because my insurance is the one paying. If they're over 18, no, because HIPAA says that's not the way it works. So you have to have a healthcare power of attorney in place for that child to be able to allow you to talk with the medical folks, and an educational document that would allow someone to talk with their school, because they go off to school, go off to college. Hey, I'm paying for college. I want to know what my kid's doing. Well, if you don't have the proper paperwork in place, the school can't tell you.
Yeah. Bob McIntosh, McIntosh Law Firm, McIntoshlawfirm.com, located in Davidson, serving all around the area, all around the state, really, is what you guys do, it seems like. How's Larry Shaheen doing? Is he doing okay?
He was yesterday when I saw him.
Yeah.
He was on something else. On to something. He just got back in off of vacation, so
he's ready to go then.
Oh, yeah. He blustered into my office about 12 things and then blustered out. And I'll see you later.
Bob McIntosh, McIntosh Law Firm. If they can't help you, they know somebody who can. Check them out, McIntoshlawfirm.com.